So hi, my name's Marty Schiller. I'm the Executive Director of NIPM. And as part of what we do each year, we have an annual symposium where we celebrate our year's accomplishments and bring in some experts and invite the community and just have a great scientific day. But today we're going to be starting and kicking this off by having our new president, Dr. Whitfield, answer some questions we have regarding our institute. So if we just start off, one thing that I think is of interest, with the new president and our group is, we're kind of curious as what your vision is for how research is going to change at UNLV during your tenure here.
Yeah, just the soft pitch first, Tom. Marty, thank you very much. First and foremost, it's fantastic to be with this group. You all are one of the highlights when you try to look at leading opportunities and leading structures within UNLV, particularly related to research. Research is, of course, a critical piece of who we identify ourselves now as a Research One institution. And so it was probably smart to hire a university president who actually is an active researcher. I do have an NIH funded research project that who knows, any day it may finally get transferred here. Anybody who has actually moved institutions, that isn't quite an arduous process. But from that vantage point, one of the things that I'm very encouraged by is that we do have interdisciplinary institutes like this one. And I think that it needs to be a lesson for other aspects of the university. I want us to be able to expand in terms of the subjects and deepen in terms of the areas in which we delve into in interdisciplinary research, such as what is done within your institute. We also need to continue to build on our culture of research, both amongst our faculty and within our students. One of the things that creates and differentiates a Research One institution from other institutions is that it gives students an opportunity to be able to do problem solving in its natural environment as it's going on. And so places like NIPM that actually is doing cutting edge research actually creates an entire ecosystem that makes our university better for both our faculty as well as for our students.
Like that. We've been excited the whole time we've had our institute to kind of build our impact on the university. And our group has really made a strong effort to do that. One thing that we're kind of hopeful is that the university will help us facilitate that a little bit more. So I was wondering if you could comment on how you think NIPM's going to fit into the short-term growth of the research at the university.
I think it's going to be that you all will be, again, a prototype for some of the discussions that we want to try to have. Marty, I think that you're really not being fair. I'm going to be, a little bit transparent here. I am a big fan of the work that you and your colleagues do. So much so, and I've never shared this with you before, I even took a class on pharmacogenetics when I was at Penn State University to look at how individuals' genomes might interact and impact the efficacy of pharmacological treatments and the environments that might be wrapped in those. And so, yeah, I see everyone shaking their head. And so, I'm a little bit biased, but I think that it really is a prototype for how we think other institutes should be created and how even some of those institutes might be able to interact with one another. Imagine if you could have 2 or 3 institutes with the breadth and impact that NIPM has about the kind of research culture that we would have at our university. So I'd like to see this be a part of not only, arguably our research-focused vision and mission, but also our piece about socioeconomic development. I know that each one of you watched with bated breath about my State of the Union address last week. And so one of the pieces that was brought up was about socioeconomic development. In really good research ecosystems, A portion of what happens is that you get spinoffs. And some of that actually could even happen at our research park. And so at some point in time, we may be talking about some of the things that some of your faculty do that might turn into a spinoff, or might even work with a company that's just looking to have world-class researchers be able to be their partners. And so that's what we're trying to look at for, you know, I like to use the quote that we've got a long way to go in a short time to get there. You know, I'd like to see that in 3 to 5 years, of that we really see a very positive ecosystem of things being rolled off and really fitting into this idea of socioeconomic development. Again, I come back to the other piece of it is that the model that you all have set for training the next generation of scientists is something that we really need to write into. For example, and I don't think that you all have one, but I'd love to see you all do one, and that is getting a T32. T32s are fantastic ways for us to be able to increase our graduate students and our graduate programs. And while they do have their drawbacks, I'm not going to act like they don't. They don't give enough administrative support for many of them. There's things that we need to be able to commit to as an institution to be able to support people getting those, to make sure that they can actually be done and done well.
Yeah. Wow, that's great. You know, we've had some discussions in NIPM about educational programs, but the way institutes were kind of brought into the university, the governance really was, you know, not, I'm not going to say it wasn't examined, it was looked at, but it was a tall order to kind of squeeze a model into the existing university structure. And you know, I think there are like some barriers on how institutes interact with the university. So I'm just wondering, from our perspective, is this something where we're going to kind of stick with the same model, or is this going to be looked at again? Because I think it would be hard. We're not an academic unit, and I don't think we could be the lead on a T32, although it's certainly something that, you know, is of interest to us. If our breadth was a little wider, I think forming a T32 from a small cluster of faculty, you needed quite a bit more. But do you have thoughts on how, if there's going to be any changes with where institutes might be able to do something like that?
Well, and I think you're alluding to it, and that is that there needs to be a little bit more of a healthy, functional relationship between institutes and academic units, because both are going to benefit. You guys get to have the ability to be able to share your knowledge and to be able to help train students, and those those academic entities actually get the graduate students that they're looking for. And so I'm assuming that each one of you all has an academic home. And so having someone have that home and kind of share that, and then placing it for its administrative operations within an institute actually is the best way to go, because you all already have something. I mean, you've got people like Jessica who can do everything. And so you've got these pieces that will help be able to make it functional, carry out some of the activities that need to be done. And I think the other piece of it is as well, which is, I think it's the very nature of NIPM, which is that it's interdisciplinary. And so it is a possibility to be able to grow then the number of faculty that might have some connection. For example, I might be able to join NIPM because I have some things that are ancillarily connected. I could imagine a student wanting to be able to use my data set that hopefully we will be able to use here relatively soon, looking at families and longevity and biological clocks. You know, I say that and I know I'm speaking your language. And so I think those possibilities are there. I think that institutes like yours kind of grew and needed in some ways to kind of create themselves. But I think, for example, that you all have become a biomedical research center of excellence. That's the perfect example to start broadening, I think, the scope and the reach and the possibility of different ways that people might be connected. I was thinking of Dr. Chen's work on schizophrenia and thinking that, you know, how many folks in our psychology program, for example, have been connected with her. there might be some folks out of clinical psychology that, you know, they might not know the genetics piece of it, but they know the schizophrenia piece of it. And so they could be functional collaborators. And I do say, just because you have a topological interest doesn't mean that you're going to be a good collaborator, but there are people that could be good collaborators. And I think if we create I'll use the word again, ecosystem, where that is actually valued, and that's what the provost and I have been working on, is talking about ways in we can actually truly value more interdisciplinary research. I think it will open up more possibilities for collaborations.
That's great to hear. Even in today's activity, you know, just a little earlier today, we were all on our annual study section panel where we reviewed all the pilot grants from campus, where we're trying to pull in all kinds of researchers and fund them to become part of our group and to do a project that involves genomics. So we're right on board with your philosophy, and we're already got some activities that are trying to move the university in that direction. So seems like we have a common vision there. Now, let me just tell you about our applications to be an adjunct faculty in NIPM. All you have to do is give a seminar and write a letter, and you're in. You know, if we accept you and our boss says you're in. Well, President Whitfield, thank you. It was a pleasure talking today and learning a bit more about what you're thinking for the university and how we'll play a role. Thank you very much.
And thank you for the time today. And, you know, honestly, the work that you all do is one of those senses of pride. You know, as a new president, one of the things that you want to do is that you want to get, you know, your greatest hits list. And you really want to look at the places in which you know that good things are going on, that you're expanding and doing the kinds of things that you need to do. As you just shared, I think the things that you all have been doing match very well with what I envision is a way that we can strengthen a great university. And again, you all watch the State of the University address. You've heard me say it before. I'm going to get known for this. My job is to try to make great better. And so we're already at great. We just need to think about getting better and being open to the ways that we can get better. And I think it's through interdisciplinarity. I think it's through exploring these different kinds of connections. And so the work that you all are doing and working on, I'm just such a fan of, and I really appreciate what you've been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Whitfield.